gorgeous breeze. A quiet, gentle start to my day. The sun's still quite low. Yeah, I'm probably going to be squinting. Oh, that breeze is delicious. I hope it's not going to mess with sound. Oh, and I've just noticed, oh my goodness, my tree lily is open. Why didn't I look? It's early in the morning. I'm not very with it. And I've just bumped into another neighbour who's, people are doing their early morning watering routines before going to work or doing other things. And I got a bit distracted by her. I've arrived and not seen that my lily is open, but never mind. The first job today is I'm going to get on with my tomato cares. It feels really early to be starting doing them because I only planted them out 9 days ago, and in a normal year, birds, planes, noise. In a normal year I'd plant them out at the beginning of June, and then by the middle of June, they might almost be ready for some cares. So I think that's what's in my mind, that I've only just planted them out, it's too soon, but of course it's not because they got big in their pots. So, what are my tomato cares today? I'm going to be doing 3 things. One, kind of obvious one, is tying them all to their canes. I'm looking at where I tied there. I think in the 9 days that they've been in, I think they've grown about 9 inches. Wow, brilliant. So tying them all in, that's an obvious one. Also what I'll be doing is towards the bottoms of the stems, now that they are growing and they're putting on new leaf every day, I will start to very simply snap off their lower leaves. I don't want to take all their leaves off, of course not, because they need to photosynthesize, but certainly the lower ones, and that's kind of part of our blight prevention cares, because blight gets carried on the wind, which is one of the reasons if you spot blight on your plants, you need to get them out, destroyed straight away. In your own garden, don't be carrying them around the site, don't be carrying your plants to a burn pile, that sort of thing. Put them in a rubbish sack on your site, get it tied off, get them carted away, because it's carried on the wind. The other thing is it can settle on the soil, so when it rains, any rain that sort of that bit of soil with sport on that splashes up and onto the leaves, it can splash it up onto the leaves. So that's why I always get rid of my lower leaves. So at the moment I'm just going to, I didn't do a very clean snap on that, just clear them to about 10 inches or so from the bottom, and then as they grow, I'll keep removing those lower leaves. Later on, I'll actually start cutting the leaves as well, but we'll come to that later. And again, that's another blight prevention thing. It's about air circulation, but we can come to that when we come to it. So tying them in, taking away their bottom leaves, and then nipping out their side shoots. I'm going to show you this a bit more closely in a second. So where we've got the stem and a leaf comes out here. Here's my leaf. In that little corner, like the sort of little elbow, we see these little side shoots developing. Now, if you've got a bush type, let's go back to that, cordon, bush. If you're growing bush type tomatoes, you don't take those side shoots out. That's what's going to produce your fruit trusses eventually. But on a cordon, I don't want those side shoots because it's putting energy into, the plant's putting energy into those side shoots, and I want to put the energy into growing up and producing the trusses as we go up and up and up the stem. So I don't want these side shoots, I nip them out. Now, it may be that by the time you get round to nipping out your side shoots, they're actually quite big. If that's the case, you can actually root them and get yourself an extra brand new free plant. So you could either pop them into a jar of water, and I think that's what Jim at Lake Effect Garden has done with his side trusses this year, side shoots, or pop them into little individual pots of compost, which is what Paul is doing. So you can get yourself a whole lot of new little plants from your side shoots. I shan't be doing that purely because I don't have any space to plant any extra plants. But if you've got, it's great. Actually, it's quite a useful tip for future years. If you've had a bit of a disaster with germination or hardening off or whatever, and you're down to just a few, let's say you've only got 10 tomato plants and you wanted 20, with a couple of them you could, don't do anything with the side shoots, let them grow and grow and grow a bit until they're maybe 6-8 inches long. Then take them off and root the side shoots to increase your number of plants. But also, I'm hearing different sounds at this time. I'm not usually here in the morning, certainly not this early. So I don't need them, so all of mine are coming out. And actually, I just saw, my first little fruits forming. Now, this is what I mean about the fact that I was so late planting them means my head is in the middle of June still, so it feels far too early to have little tomatoes, but little tomatoes I have. So it'll take a while to go through the whole patch. Side shoot, side shoot, side shoots, side shoot Bob. But it's a job I love, and it's one of those moments. It's one of those moments in the year that I really look forward to and cherish. Because let's face it, even if this was a normal year, say this was the beginning of June, for all of us who are growers, March, April and May will have been such busy months. Sowing seeds, pricking, potting on, transplanting, planting out, bed prep, all that bed prep, carting manure, carting compost, adding dirt, It's just this kind of relentless 3 months of work to get our gardens in and at a stage where we can sort of walk away. Not quite walk away, but it gets to the stage where then really all we need to be doing is watering, weeding, of course, all those little things that continue. But in terms of the actual plants, we put them in and then we just let them get on with it, let them grow. So it's that first real time in the garden, or this is what it is to me anyway, it's that first real time in the garden where I can slow down a bit. Yeah, I've got a great long list of jobs, there's all sorts need doing. But if I don't do any of those jobs on the list today, it'll be okay. If this is the only job I do today, yeah, it'll be okay. So it's a really special moment to just be able to slow down, to be immersed in my garden, just immersed in it and have little moments to just look and appreciate the plants, appreciate their growth, appreciate the flowers as they're opening. Time to just appreciate the bird song and the buzz, the constant buzz of the bees in the lavender. Oh, yeah, really, really special. It is my absolute all-time favourite gardening task. And of course, the smell, smell and memory, we know they're very closely linked. And I'm just double checking, I thought that was a side shoot, it's not, it's the growing tip. Just as you get towards the top of the plant, just be mindful you're not nipping out the growing tip. Yeah, that thing of smell and memory, for me it's, you know, it's my grandparents. The smell of tomato leaf juice on my fingertips. It's my grandparents, it's lovely. So yeah, wonderful, lovely, quiet work to do. I'll do a plant, I'll take a moment to just sit up, you know, look around, lose myself in my thoughts, and just really appreciate what I've got by having the garden, and more so than ever this year, because it's going to be my last summer here. So, I shouldn't have said that, I'll get upset, but to really, you know, make the most of it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you around closer, I think, and show you on this one. Oh, this one's got little fruits forming too. You see, that's the other thing, isn't it? I think those really boring jobs like watering, yeah, they're boring and they take time, but because they take time, while we're doing it, we should take our time, use that time to really closely look at both the plants, the soil, the insects. One of the things I sort of love and then worry about it is when the ground's really, really dry and I start to water, especially if it's with the rose, I see all the little spiders scuttling out of the way, and I think, wow, you've all been down there all this time. I didn't even notice you until I started watering. So yeah, these quiet, slow, repetitive jobs, let's use them to take a moment to really look at our plants and notice those tiny little increments of growth that we see each day. Heaven. Let me get you in a bit closer. Okay, so hopefully this will give you a good clear shot. So we can see, here's the stem, obviously. Here's a leaf, and where the leaf and the stem join, that's the side shoot that I don't want. So just nip it out. Carrying on down the stem, here's my extra leaf. Nip it out. And just follow the stem down, there's a leaf, nip it out. I hope you can see that. But also, actually I think I'm going to snip these leaves off because they've gotten quite big. That's another side shoot. And this, I hope this will show. Actually, I can't actually see what you're seeing. Can you see? So this is the stem. Here's the leaf. This side shoot here, you see this? That's one that's gotten quite big, and it would be almost easy to miss. Even though it's big, it would be easy to miss because it almost looks like the stem. So that one's coming out too. And actually this one is the sort of size where you might say, yep, that's a good size. Let me go and root that. Sorry, we've got shadows there. Let me go and root that in some water or in a pot of compost. But look, can you see? Oh, I'm going to have to tip you up a bit. Sorry, it's an awkward angle. You see my first little truss, and continuing up, blah. There's another little side shoot that can come out. So I think that's all my side shoots on that one. So then just strip the bottom few leaves, and job's a good one. Get it tied in, and it does look a bit, after one has done it, it does look a bit nudie, but they just don't need that foliage at the bottom. Let's get light and air to these trusses and help bring these lovely little tomatoes along. I love the sound of the wood pigeon just softly cooing over there. It's a bit drowned out this morning by the sound of the parakeets. I don't know what has got into the parakeets this morning to make them so noisy. They're not native to the UK. This is not a sound that, for example, my grandparents, when they lived in London when they were younger, they wouldn't have heard this sound in the morning, tending to their tomatoes. Good grief. It's the law of sod, isn't it, that I had a lovely session down here yesterday morning and it was dead quiet. No ambulances, no aeroplanes, no parakeets. But the minute I come here with a camera, squawking rages. It always amazes me how I can do these cares, be what I think is really, really thorough, and then literally in a few days' time see a massive side shoot that I've either missed or the plant thinks, yeah, let's put out some more shoots, let's keep Vivi on her toes. In terms of doing these jobs, they'll get to about once a week. They'll certainly need, well, I hope they'll need tying in at least once a week. I hope they're growing enough to need tying in. But yeah, about once a week I'll do this, tie in, nip the lower leaves off, nip any side shoots out, enjoy my time. I think that's the other thing, one of the things I love about growing tomatoes is, like back to what I was saying a minute ago about when we get the garden, it's kind of the garden is in now, leave it alone to grow. It's another aeroplane. Are you kidding me today? Most things we just leave them to grow and get on with it. Oh, hang on a minute. Noisy morning. The thing about the tomatoes is they do need that ongoing care. So I think it's almost like I like them because it gives me an excuse. It's something to do over the summer. Not that I don't have other things to do, but you know what I mean. So I shall carry on. I can feel, it's about 7:30 by now, and I can already feel heat in that sun. So I need to crack on. There's a few other jobs, which I'll show you in a second, watering, etc. So yeah, as much as I want to be in my moment to take my time, I don't want to dilly-dally too much because I want to get this done and I want to get home by about 11 o'clock. It's going to be too hot to bear. So yeah, cracking on. I just thought, while we're here, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone, talk to you about something here rather than sitting in the shed to talk about it. And that is, there seems to be controversies about this every single year, watering. Basically, when is the best time to water? So a lot of people will say you shouldn't water in the morning because it's all going to evaporate. The best time to water is in the evening. It won't evaporate. The plants will get a chance of a long, long drink. Others will say don't water in the evening because having that damp ground overnight, it's perfect for slugs and snails. So definitely water in the morning. In other words, If you listened to all the advice, you'd never water. The other one is that we should never, I'm going to take awkward angle, never water during the daytime because the plants will get sunburned. The idea, hang on, you've tipped all the way down there, sorry. This is why I need a camera lady with me. Camera lady. Don't water during the daytime because, a drop of water on the leaf and then the sun shines on it and it will scorch the plant and kill them. Look, the thing is, well, firstly, the one about the daytime, never watering in the daytime, because when I water, before I go, it will be about, I'll probably start my watering at 10 in order to leave here at 11. In nature, we can have a fiercely bright, hot day. Never mind even the heat, but the brightness, sun out. And then out of nowhere, a thunderstorm gathers and we have this brief lashing down rain of a summer storm. I love those summer storms. And then a few minutes later, blue sky, blazing sunshine again. And every single plant has been soaked by that rain. But we don't rush out after a thunderstorm to dry all our plant leaves, do we? Of course not. So I think that one, the don't do it in the daytime, I think, to be honest, I think it's a bit of a myth because, how many years have I been gardening? I've been gardening a long time. And I've never, I hope I'm not going to jinx myself, I have never lost my plants to being sun scorched after being wet, whether it's wet from a watering can or wet from a summer storm. It's just never happened. So yeah, I think it's one of those people, I understand that people try to find a reason for something and blame the watering. So now the other thing is, well, why don't you water in the evening? Then there's but the whole slug thing. But in the evening it's cooler. You see, here's the other thing. That's also a bit of a myth. It's not. So I'm not sure exactly what the time is now. I'd say it's about 8. And I was looking at the forecast for today and the temperatures, and this is very, very typical. So about 8 o'clock in the morning, let's say it's 22 degrees. 8 o'clock tonight, the chances are it'll be 27, 28 degrees. The heat builds through the day. Usually my garden is at its hottest between 3 in the afternoon and 5. That's the hottest part of the day. Not at noon, it's still building. So in fact, water, for me anyway, water in the evening is a much more horrible, sweaty, enervating job than to do it at 7 in the morning. So you know what, it's, even though I'm not a morning person and I don't like the morning, I would prefer to water at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning than at those same hours in the evening. It's cooler, it's much, much more comfortable. And of course, the bottom line, excuse me, I'm going to come and shovel right up to you. Hello. Ultimately, you water when you can water. So, a lot of my friends here, they water before work because that will be their only chance. Oh my goodness, that's a massive side shoot. I'm just on the Guernsey tomatoes at the moment, and because I've never grown them before, I'm a bit like, am I doing the right thing? Well, that was a big side shoot. Maybe they just side shoot more quickly than other varieties. I don't know. Anyway, it's off. I just hope it's the right thing to do. They are a cordon. Yeah, you know what, if everybody said you absolutely must not water your garden at 12 noon, but 12 noon was absolutely the only time that you had free to water your garden, what are you going to do? Not water? And the garden dies? So yeah, I think you have to be a bit sensible, but it's like everything in the garden, isn't it? Just be sensible. Ultimately, water when you can. It's better to water at midday than not at all. It's better to water at 3 p.m. than not at all. It's better to come down at midnight with a head torch on to water than not water at all. If you find a time that suits you, whether it's before work or after work, or, for some people it might be after they've dropped the kids off at school, or they've dropped the grandchildren off at nursery. You might want to drop your grandparents off at nursery. They might enjoy it. Fitting around all the other things you have to do with your day, whenever you can find a time that fits into your schedule, do it. And don't be worried about what other people say, especially if you've got, you might have, if you're on an allotment, you might have those kind of old timers who like to tell you everything that you're doing wrong. And if they like to tell you that you're watering at the wrong time of day, you could just politely explain to them that that's the only time that's available to you, and some water at any time is better than no water at all. Do what's right for you. Oh, we're getting there. Right, I'm going to shut up and carry on now, and then we're going to go and sort out something with the chickpeas. God, I can't even get it in. Hot and baked. Need more sticks. Upside down Vivi again. So this is a little job that I mean to do every year, but every year I've not got round to it. I'm sort of making a little bit of a fence. I need an extra stake there to just help hold the calendula up, because as they get bigger and bigger they'll start to flop over the path. And this is a crop. I don't want to lose any single blossom. So I'm just using what I've got. It may be that I need to tie with a bit of string. So yeah, almost like a very open wattle and daub. And then, oh la la, let me come around. Actually, let me bring you around. Okay, so try again. Look, it's an impossible shot because this is low, what I'm doing. I'm tall and high up, plus I keep being interrupted by the building work next door. But this is what I'm trying to do, is make these little sort of fences for the calendula and for the chickpeas, because they are both crops and I don't want them, they do spread and they get sort of floppy over the path. Right, alternate which way round they go. Now, the thing with the chickpea, it kind of makes me laugh though, because as they sort of flop over the path, I end up walking over them, stepping on them, and of course when a chickpea is forming, the pod forms and gets really quite plump, but there's still no pea yet. The pea is a tiny speck within that pod, so the pod is just like a big bubble of air with nothing much by way of a pea in it. So when you step on it, it's like walking on bubble wrap through the garden. So yeah, it's funny, pop, 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 but it's also like, oops, bang goes a bit of my crop. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to finish doing this. I think it's going to be easier to show you when I'm done. Just a note on the chickpeas. Oh my goodness, this is just, hang on a minute, annoying me today. I can't, there we go. I can't, oh, that's why, ow, I need it, just snapped a cane. That's why I need a camera person. Exactly that I was just mentioning. Why is that one sticking out? It needs to bend round. Oh, I've missed it, never mind. The thing with the chickpeas is their pods, they do get quite a chunky pod, sort of like a pod the size of a sort of a thumb knuckle. And you could be fooled into thinking, yay, harvest them, and there's nothing in there. So the trick to knowing when your pea is beautifully formed, I mean, you could squeeze them a little to feel, but the chances are if you squeeze, you're going to pop it. It's the plant version of, but it really is the plant version of bubble wrap. I mean, you could just sit and pop it all day and you'd be a very happy, stress-free person, but you wouldn't have any chickpeas. The easiest way to tell when your chickpeas are ready to harvest, if you want to harvest them green, that is fresh, rather than later on dried, is either early in the morning or late in the afternoon, basically when the sun is low. So by now, I think it's already about 10 o'clock. Everything's taking forever today, but yeah, anyway, the sun's too high now, but when in the really early morning or late afternoon when the sun is really low, get down close with your chickpeas, get on sort of eye level with the pods, and with the sun coming through from the other side, you can see the pea inside. It's like the sun's version of X-ray for your chickpeas. You can X-ray your chickpeas to see if the pea is big enough to warrant harvesting. Oh, so yeah, I'm really glad. I know this is going to sound really daft. I'll get on then and then show you when I'm done. But I'm really glad to get this little job done today, because literally every year around this time I say to myself, oh, I need to put up a little fence or strings or whatever for my chickpeas and the calendula, must do that, and then I think, I get so busy with other things because I've given so much time to the garden, I then have to get back to all those other things. I've just never got round to it, and so every year I lose a bit of my crop from stamping on it, from them flopping on the ground, like the flowers going on the ground and getting muddy. So yeah, I'm determined that this year being my last year, I don't think this is going to be my best garden ever in terms of produce. Well, it can't possibly be because I've taken up beds with beans, etc. But I do want to go out on a high. I want to do the best I possibly can for this garden this year and for myself. So yeah, let me go on and let's get this job finished before the building work starts up again. Yay! Oh, cooling breeze. Oh, I can't help but stop and stare for a minute with the bees and butterflies and the lavender, but that's not why I've opened the camera. So, there we go, that's my little bit done for the calendula. You see, it's just using what I've got. It doesn't have to be very high, they should stand up, but now also the thing is, if we get a real hammering of rain, as we sometimes do in summer, I can't see it happening for a couple of weeks, but if we do get a hammering of rain, it will also stop them being hammered flat onto the floor. So that's just enough to look after the calendula, and then a bit taller to look after the chickpeas. I'm trying to think where's the best light. Oh, shadows. I mean, it's so bright, it's actually really hard to make things out, isn't it? But you can see it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little sticks, 4 little sticks posted in, and then the beam poles are slotted, alternating behind, in front, and then the next one in front, behind, and that way I don't actually need any string, so they're just holding themselves up under their own tension. Yay! I know it sounds silly, but I'm so glad to get these little jobs done. Like I said, they've been one of those on my agenda every summer. I think I really must do it. And now you can see the path is clear, so as I'm going up and down for watering or up and down for harvesting, I'm not in danger of damaging any of my precious crops. Woo! Right, that's been a long ramble. It's time for me to have a quick sit down and a jug of water. I'm actually going to stay and do a few other bits, but they'll be in another video. So for now, I'm going to say to you all lovelies, cheerio. I'll see you again really soon. I hope you're all managing to, navigate this heat. Look after yourselves in it. If you're having heat, look after yourselves and your beloved plants, because it ain't half dry. See you soon, lovelies. Cheerio.